like to welcome you to the second session of the Macomb Manufacturers Hot Topics series. I'm Don Morandini. I'm the Deputy Director for Macomb County's Planning and Economic Development Department. And the department's pleased to partner with KASEY Green and the City of Sterling Heights, the Economic Development Manager for the City of Sterling Heights, to help launch the program, the series, and sponsor today's program. The idea for this one-hour panel discussion really came from some brainstorming meetings we had with a number of local manufacturing companies, representatives from manufacturing companies, and I don't think, is Joe Borowitz here? Okay, but companies like Rave Computer and Experimental and AGS Automotive helped us identify some of the topics that should be covered and the need for a program like this. And our common interests are manufacturing, primarily manufacturing. Manufacturing is a key component to Macomb County and the City of Sterling Heights economy. And not just automotive, but aerospace, advanced manufacturing, defense, but the manufacturing base in Macomb County employs over almost 53,000 people. So it's a key to the success of our company or of our county. Now, one of the things that the Macomb County Executive has done is created a Home in Macomb business retention program to help address that the focus of especially in manufacturing, but for second stage companies as a whole. And one of the things that the philosophy being, it's a business philosophy that many of you probably have used, that you don't ignore your existing customers to go after new customers. And one of the things that we didn't want to do was ignore our existing customers. And what we find is that 80 to 85% of the new jobs that are created and investment that's created in any community come from the companies who are already in that community. So what we want to do is help try and create an environment that's conducive for those companies to grow. And that's part of the focus of this series. You came in, there's a packet of information that you received. We'd encourage you to take a look at that. It provides some information on a lot of the services that are available. And one of the keys here is that you're going to hear from some of your peers about how the challenges that they have faced and how they have addressed those challenges. And then you're going to hear from some organizations that have helped companies solve some of their employment-related problems. And then what we'll do is, after the presentation, we'll open it up for some discussion. And again, as I mentioned before, we're going to try and do this all within 1 hour. And before I turn it over to KASEY, I do want to emphasize that and you're going to hear this several times, my paycheck is dependent upon it. You have to fill out the survey. And the survey is critical, not just so that we can identify whether you like the program or not, but what are some of the topics that you want to see in the future. And that's how the topics have been selected in the past, are specifically from the input from companies just like you. So I'm going to encourage you, probably several times, to fill out the survey before you leave. And now I'm just going to turn it over to KASEY.
Great, thanks, Don. Well, I want to thank all of you for attending today and welcome you to the Velocity Collaboration Center here. We're doing a lot of programming here at the center aimed at helping businesses. And as all of you know, today we want to help you with getting some information to help address the challenge we're hearing from the business community, which is around workforce. We're hearing from you about the challenge to find the workers you need to meet the needs of your company so that you can grow and thrive. So thank you for attending today and welcome to the center. We also want to thank all of our panelists for giving of their time today to come out here and share information with you at the panel. So with that, I'm going to ask each of the panelists to just very briefly go ahead and give us their name and the organization they're represented. There's additional information in your packet on each one of these panelists. So we'll start with Clarinda. Clarinda, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Clarinda Harrison. I'm with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. I'm the regional manager for a new talent program called Community Ventures.
Great, thank you.
My name is Janice Thomas. I am a Government Projects Program Administrator at Magna International. It's my job to manage all federal government, or federal, local, and state level projects that we have in the United States.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derrick Meeking. I'm the Assistant Manager for our Machinist Training Program at Focus Hope in Detroit, Michigan.
Hi, I'm Michael Mallegg. I'm Vice President of Detronic Industries, a Sterling Heights-based manufacturer. We make precision sheet metal fabrications.
So what we're going to do now is get right into our panel discussion, and each one of these panelists is going to take a few minutes to share with you some information. We're going to ask you to hold off on questions. We're going to have lots of time for Q&A at the end. So we're going to ask each of these panelists to just take a few minutes to share some information. We're going to start with Clarinda and the Community Ventures Program. And Clarinda, if you can share with us a little bit about how this program came about and what it offers for the business community.
Okay, great. So I want to start by saying that there's a fact sheet in your folder that you can reference after this. So I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of what this program is and what the value add is for companies that are hiring talent right now. So basically, this is a program that was initiated by the leadership of state government here in Michigan, and it's really an unprecedented way of addressing challenges to both getting workforce to employers that are hiring, and also addressing challenges that are prevalent in urban communities where we have high unemployment rate. The reason why it's important for the region is because we're looking at that talent as a resource for companies throughout the state. And so when there are hiring opportunities, we're looking to make those connections with job-ready talent. So the program was announced in March of this year in the governor's crime and safety speech that he made, basically identifying 4 key communities where we need to improve upon some of the issues of economic opportunity. Those communities are Detroit, which also includes Highland Park and Hamtramck, Pontiac, Flint, and Saginaw. So there's a wide stretch of communities throughout the region that we're focusing on, and those communities are important because that's where we're looking for the talent. We're working with partners within each of those areas that will provide us with the talent, largely the Michigan Works agencies who have a very vested interest in pre-screening individuals, making sure that they're job ready, and then working with companies and employers to get you that talent that you need based on the opportunities that you have available. Community Ventures will then look at that talent within a pool of individuals we consider structurally unemployed. What that means is the talent that we're focusing on have some barriers to employment that we acknowledge. However, they also have been invested in terms of getting them job ready. So we're looking to focus on individuals that have been dislocated from the workforce for some period of time, individuals that are experiencing poverty, those that may be considered at-risk youth, which varies from the ages of 18 to 29. And then also, when appropriate, we're looking at ex-offenders that have re-entered into the community but have been provided with support and talent development that makes them job ready. And that's the case with any candidate that we would work with. How it benefits a company is that it is an incentive program, basically a wage reimbursement grant that is provided at $5,000 per individual hired for this fiscal year. And that fiscal year would be, for us, October 1 of 2012 to September 30th. We pay the company based on the fact that they've made a good faith effort to hire in long-term sustainable jobs that pay a living wage. And as we talk with companies, what we're finding is that's about $11.50 an hour. But really, we're not so focused on what the wage is, as long as there's a career pathway and an opportunity for individuals to advance within those roles. It also helps address attrition with companies. When the type of employment opportunities that we typically look at for these type of this talent is those that are available on the shop floor that may have some low skill set requirements, but still require a little bit of training and advancement in order for those individuals to perform the job successfully. So we've budgeted and allocated additional funding where we're working with partners like Focus Hope and JVS. There are some other service provider organizations that have a long-standing reputation in the community and the capacity to help us with employee retention. And so once those individuals are hired by a company and we're providing the company with wage reimbursement, we maintain a relationship with the human resources individuals as well as the plant managers so that we're identifying what the challenges are to hiring those individuals. And we find that the challenges are not unique to the talent pool that we're focusing on just because they're deemed structurally unemployed. Is something that employers face anyway when trying to retain individuals and making certain that they're successful and then thereby impacting the company's bottom line in a positive way. And so when we identify barriers to sustained employment, we work with our partners in order to ensure that there are services delivered that you don't have to pay for, that the MEDC pays for, in order to, again, ensure success and employee retention. So from the perspective of the company, you get job-ready talent, you get a wage reimbursement, a grant that you are provided that you can either use towards advancing the individuals that you employ, or you can put it back into your cash flow if that's what you feel is appropriate for your company. Again, it's $5,000 per employee, and we also work with you in employee retention. And so I've invited Magna because they were one of the early adopters of our program. They've hired, they have a commitment to hire several hundred individuals in both Highland Park and Auburn Hills, tapping into the talent in Pontiac and Detroit, Highland Park and Hamtramck. And this is a process that has worked well for both of us. And we also have a lot of other larger employers, but we don't require that there's a minimum job number that you have to hire in order to participate. All we're looking for is job opportunities that are ready and available right now within the near term, long-term sustainable employment opportunities. And then we will screen based on what your criteria are and allow for you to have the final say in who you actually decide to employ.
All right, great. Well, as Clarinda mentioned, Magna is represented here because Magna has participated in this program. So Janice, we're interested in hearing about the challenge Magna was facing and how this partnership with the state has helped address the workforce challenges faced by Magna. So if you can tell us a little bit about that, that would be great.
Okay. First, I guess probably one of the most number one question we hear is, who is Magna? Most people don't know who we are. They're actually surprised to find out exactly how big Magna really is. So we'll just jump into that really fast, and then I'll get into the community ventures part of it. Magna is North America's biggest supplier. We're ranked 4th in the world, and we supply every major automaker in North America, Europe, and Asia. This includes GM, Ford, Toyota, Honda, Nissan, BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen, and niche players like Aston Martin, as well as a couple of the smaller Chinese companies that are rapidly growing right now. We are the most diversified automotive supplier out there in that we manufacture or engineer different parts of the vehicle. We basically do everything on a car with the exception of glass and tires. In the state of Michigan alone, we have approximately 8,500 people employed right now. There are 20 manufacturing and assembly facilities here, as well as 17 engineering, product development, sales centers around the state itself. We also have 3 headquarters located in this area, in the Michigan area also. When it comes to community ventures, this has been one of the ways that Magna considers hiring people who would not normally pass the initial screening procedure. Magna wants to continue to be more invested in being a good corporate citizen and a force in the communities where we have plants and to get people employed. If you look at the example of Highland Park, only 5% of all the applicants for factory floor jobs are able to pass the initial screening. After that, less than 10% are able to pass the basic skills test and the practical application test. And without the Community Ventures program, none of these folks would ever have a chance to get a job. So Community Ventures has been one of the avenues that has helped bridge that gap for making sure that the unemployment problems in the southeast part of Michigan are getting people back to work once more. And as Clarinda stated earlier, it is part of Magna's expansion plan. We do have part of our plan right now to hire approximately 200 to 300 people as part of the Community Ventures program.
All right, great. Well, now we're going to shift focus a little bit. You've heard a little bit about the Community Ventures program and a company that's using that. Now we're going to hear from Focus Hope, which is another great resource available to help employers with the recruitment challenges that are being faced by so many companies in the community. So, Derrick, we're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about Focus Hope and the programs that you offer that can help employers, and tell us about how these companies might be able to tap into that.
All right, thank you. First off, there's a packet, a one-pager as well in your packets about Focus Hope and all the entities that we have going on down in the city. Just before I go into the programs, I want to give you guys a little bit of overview of Focus Hope and those who don't know about it. We've been around since 1968, founded by Sister Eleanor Jositis and Father Cunningham. We have 3 lines of business. Our one that's been around since the beginning is the Food Commodity Supplement Program, where we feed about 55,000 single parents and elderly individuals a month in our 3 food centers, one that's located in Southwest Detroit and the other that's on our main campus on Oakman Boulevard in Detroit, and the other that's located in Inkster. Our food comes from the USDA and also from Forgotten Harvest, so they get the staples that they're going to need to supplement them through the month. We also have a Hope Village initiative where we have adopted the 3 schools that are in the neighborhood by our main campus on Oakman, and also the 10 blocks around Focus Hope, and we're providing them with wireless internet service and other services that they're going to need to be a sustainable community. Our one that's been around since 1984 is our Machinist training program, where we have trained about almost 100,000 machinists and put them into work in the Metro Detroit area. We also have an information technologies program where right now we're training individuals to be certified business service professionals, where they're able to do customer service, whether it be at a retail store or any type of online help desk services as well. I'm here to speak about our Machinist training program. Like I said, we've been around since 1984. And right now our program is working under a Southeast Michigan Talent Enhancement Program grant, where we are required to train individuals that are between the ages of 18 to 24 years old in a 12-week machine operator program. So if you ever get any resumes from our graduates that are within the 12-week program, they're being trained to be machine operators. We have had graduates in the past. Our program used to be 20 weeks. And then about 15 years ago, it used to be 32 weeks, and those individuals were trained to be skilled machinists, okay? Our individuals now that are going through the 12-week program, those individuals do go to class every day, and in the classroom, they're learning blueprint reading, shop math, shop theory, and also a tech math class that supplements everything that they're going to be learning on the shop floor as far as working with micrometers, calipers, changing from English to metrics and things like that. On the shop floor, the first 3 weeks they're working on the manual mills. The second 3 weeks they're working on the manual lathes, and the last 6 weeks is split into the CNC lathes and mills. Now, some of you may be wondering, why are we still teaching the manual machines? We did a survey of industry, and we found out that a lot of our students are more marketable to employers because they have the manual aspect and that dexterity. And we also wanted to put that out there because, what if your CNC machine breaks down? You got an order that needs to get done. Our students do know how to work on the manual machines as well. The most important class that we do have is communications as well. In our communications class, our students are learning the soft skills, what's really important about winning that interview and being a productive employee when you're in the workplace, how to communicate with your employer, how to communicate with your colleagues, the importance of being to work on time. If your shift starts at 6:15 is not on time. You need to be at work in enough time to plan for anything that may happen on the way to work or when you get there. All of our students, before they even come into the program, are tested. You have to come in with a certain grade level. With our machinist program, it's a 9th grade reading level and a 10th grade math level. You have to meet that level. And they do also go through a urinalysis when they enter the program and before they exit the program. Once they complete those 12 weeks, they go into job placement mode, and we have a career services department where we basically work with the students to place them in viable employment in the Metro Detroit region. During that session, we're working with those individuals to get them placed within 90 days. So we're collaborating with companies such as yourselves, staffing agencies, and other entities around the Metro Detroit area to get those individuals into jobs. Now, one thing that's really different about Focus Hope is that we have the wraparound services. We're kind of take a holistic approach to our students. So if they're having any troubles with getting to schools, we offer them bus tickets if they're eligible, eyeglasses. We try to take away all the barriers that is going to hinder them from getting through the program. So once they get to the end of the program and they get sustainable, they're able to go out to work without any issues. Another thing is that if you're able to partner with Focus Hope and take some of our graduates, if you're partnering with a company such as, any other staffing agencies out there or any other of those types of agencies, you may have to pay some type of overhead in order to get their services. All of our services are for free, and we have a whole database of individuals that are available and ready to go to work from our 12-week program, from our 20-week program, and also from our 32-week program. We really try to instill into them the 3 A's: academics, attendance, and attitude. If you fall short in any one of those areas, you may not finish the program. And that's just one of the things we really try to instill into them, that you have to have that discipline so that once you leave this sheltered environment and you're going out into the real world and into work, you really have to put your best foot forward. You're not only representing yourself, you're representing Focus Hope, and you represent the next individual that we're going to send to you. So we do have individuals that have graduated. We do have a plethora of individuals that are looking for work. If anyone's interested in partnering with Focus Hope about those services, whether it be in the information technology or whether it be in the machinist training program, you can speak to me after. Thank you.
And I will say that all of the Focus Hope graduates are Community Ventures eligible as well. So you can get that job-ready talent and then also receive the resources from the MEDC.
Great. Well, now I think Mike Mallegg from Detronic is going to share with us his feedback on actually utilizing the Focus Hope program. Detronic is a local business here in Sterling Heights. So, Mike, we're interested to hear about the workforce challenge that Detronic was facing and how the program through Focus Hope really helped you address that.
Thanks, KASEY. As I said earlier, we're a sheet metal fabricator. We've been in business since 1958, always based in Michigan, and we have about 70 full-time employees. Basically, our products are made from start to finish at our facility. We're buying raw materials, and then we are punching or laser cutting them, forming, welding, metal finish, powder coat, zinc plate, silk screen, assemble, and ship. So we need people in all those areas. When I started, we didn't really do machining, but since I've been there, we've since introduced a machining capability, and that That brought with it the need for qualified employees. The areas that I just mentioned, all those various disciplines, were typically filled by people that were brought to us from newspaper ads. And in a lot of cases, we were overwhelmed with applicants, which is a good problem to have. And it was not very difficult for us to weed through the applicants and find a number of qualified people at any time for any one of those various areas of need. Some of those areas of need require higher skill levels than others, but there are also areas where you can utilize a somewhat skilled person and train them up to a level of proficiency that works. For example, punching, laser cutting. You can take a person with a foundation of knowledge and create an operator from them very quickly, and then coach them up, train them up on the job. With machining, it's a little bit different, and machining is one of only two areas, that and press brake or form work, that we have the opposite condition where we're very low in terms of qualified applicants. It's funny because when we would put an ad out, we would be overwhelmed with applicants, so much so that we'd have to say, we'd put a sign out that says, we really don't need anybody else, thank you, and we have this stack of resumes. But when you want a machinist or press brake operator, the reverse is true. They're very hard to find. And a lot of times they may be underqualified, and it takes time to get those particular areas up to speed. One of the people that works at our company initially reached out to Focus Hope, and we conveyed to them what our needs were, and they sent us back a roster of applicants. So we went through the typical hiring, interviewing, qualifying process, and we ended up hiring a person, and they had a higher than we were used to seeing base of knowledge. They were basically plug and play to get started, and then what we would do is we would train them to not just be an operator but to be a programmer, because that's really what ends up happening is, in terms of punching and laser cutting, the programming is done prior to the job being submitted to an operator. They're executing that program. When it comes to machining, particularly milling and forming, the operator is actually concocting the program on the floor. And if they can't do that, then it really slows down production for obvious reasons, and we have to bring other people in to kind of walk them through that. In terms of Focus Hope, we were very happy with the person that we got. And everything that Derrick said that they are supposed to have, this person had. He had a very good attendance record, an excellent attitude, a good foundation of knowledge, and really just about everything that you would hope for. So we went back to Focus Hope again. We've hired another person for the same area, and now we've gone to a job fair in October and actually harvested about 50 resumes. We actually brought in 4 people for interviews, and we hired a third person from there, so that all our machinists now are from Focus Hope. We have, as I said, about 70 full-time employees. And machining has really been a very good addition to our roster of capabilities. And so we're very glad to have Focus Hope because, like I said, this is one of the disciplines that's extremely hard to find, because the people that have been employed and trained are obviously not available. They're captured in their current environment, wherever that might be. So we need people that are developing, that we can take in, put to work immediately, and then enhance them so that they become not just operators but actual programmers. And that's what we're doing now. I think I've covered just about everything I wanted to cover. The more programming capability they have, the higher their starting pay is with us. So we evaluate them, and then we end up classifying them, ranking them within our current classification system, and that determines their pay rate. But Focus Hope has really fulfilled a very important niche for us, because the mills are, we started off with 2 manual mills, then we added a VMC, vertical machining center. Now we have a second one, and they are overloaded, so that they're running constantly 2 shifts every day. Every day we're open, and when we are missing one of these people, it's really a very hard position to fill. So we're glad to have them, and we want to make them better and make them happy, because we want them to stick with us, and hopefully, as we have more positions available, we can go back to Focus Hope again and take advantage of their program, because as I said, we're very pleased. They are delivering exactly what Derrick said to us, which is what we need. They're better than a lot of our, or at least as good, if not better, than previous employees that we've had. And like I said, I have nothing but good things to say about them, and we really need them, and we're glad to have them.
All right, great. Well, you've had an opportunity to hear from all of our panelists about the programs that are available and some perspectives from your peers. So now I think we want to open the floor to hear the questions you have for our panelists. And Maria over here is going to help out with a hand mic so that we can be sure to hear all of you. If you can speak directly in the mic so that everyone can hear you, that would be great. So we'd like to open it up to your questions. Tell us who you are.
My name is Gerald Van Ness. I'm with iHasbot. I was wondering, from Focus Hope, do you have a program for welders?
No, we do not currently right now have a program for welders. We are looking towards expanding our program in 2013 for a welding operation. We're also looking to add a CMM program and also a robotics program as well, working with the Fanuc controllers.
Hi, my name is Steve Detronic, and I work for Dongying Mechatronics. Clarinda, I have a couple of questions for you. The Community Ventures program, you said like somebody from Focus Hope would qualify for this program. If they're not a member of it, how would this work? We would find the person and contact you to make them part of it, or?
So we have an operating agreement right now with Focus Hope, understanding that their talent pool is perfectly aligned with individuals that are considered structurally unemployed. Whether your point of entry is with Focus Hope or the MEDC, if you're hiring from that talent pool, as long as you contact one of the 2 organizations, we would then explain to you in further detail what the program is about, what our expectations are, and then get a better understanding of what your job needs are. We leave it to the talent providers and the experts in workforce development like Focus Hope to make sure you get the talent that you need. And once you hire them, then we're in an agreement with you to provide that incentive directly to your company. So you just provide us with the job order and let us know what you need, and everything else we will manage.
Okay, and then you had said that in order to have a living wage, they need to be making about $11.50 an hour. Is that the number that is set, or is that number that we?
That was just an example of the average and what we've seen. We've also worked with companies that had opportunities with wages starting at about $8, but in those circumstances there was a pay scale or a built-in process for those individuals to advance within a step increase system.
Okay, all right, thank you.
My name's Gordon Thompson from E&R Industrial. My question's for Clarinda. The first challenge is getting the talent. The second challenge is retaining it.
Yes.
And I wonder if you could go into a bit more detail about this talent retention. I've read this paragraph here, and it doesn't actually say very much about what specifically you do to help companies retain such talent as they might recruit.
Sure. So that's deliberate because we want to work with the company to identify what the challenges are from their perspective. And then through our partnership with organizations like Focus Hope, we will customize what it is that we feel we can deliver based on what your needs are. So if it's a circumstance where individuals are not coming to work on time, for instance, to the extent where you may have to take corrective action or reprimand them or potentially terminate those individuals, before we get to that point, we want to identify what the real issues are. And if it's a situation where temporarily we need to provide transportation opportunities, then again, we have an operating agreement with Focus Hope in this example to address and alleviate that barrier. So we would then expend funds to our service provider organization that we're working with in order to address what the company identifies as a potential barrier.
So really quick, I love that question because the next event we want to do, we want to focus on that very issue, on employee retention. So you're going to find in your survey there is a space where we're asking all of you if you have great creative examples of things your company has done that have been successful to retain workers, and we're reaching out and trying to find those success stories out in the community that businesses are implementing, that they're finding are really working to keep the critical talent that you have. So we're hoping to do an event really soon focusing on that issue, and if you do have an example, please add it to your survey to help us in crafting that next event. So.
I have a question. If I'm not a company owner, but if I'm ready to get started, what do I do? Derrick, I want to talk to you about people in your program. How do I just reach out to you on the information
you can reach out to me on the information provided. I can take your business card. I would love for you to come down to Focus Hope and see our shop floor, see our machines. All of our students have their own machines. Each class has about 24 students in the classes. So when you're going and visiting Macomb County Community College, or you're going up to Washtenaw County, you know, they have a whole class and they only have one lathe. Each one of our students has their own specific manual machine. Okay, so we don't have the capabilities. We're a nonprofit organization. We can't buy 24 high CNCs. We wish we could. But in order to alleviate that, we have an immersive software where our students can basically crash the CNC machine as many times as they want on that software in our computer lab before we put them out there on our Haas machines. We have 2 Haas CNC mills, 2 Haas CNC lathes, and we have 2 TO1 lathe hybrid machines. We have 2 hiding hangs, which is basically a converted Bridgeport with a control panel. So our students are trained on the Haas machines, but they have that dexterity and that aptitude that if you're running a Mallegg or if you're running a Okuma, our students can come in and pick up those programs and those offsets pretty fast, much like Mike said, and they're able to hit the ground running. You know, they may be, you know, a little green, but you know they're better than the guy you get walking off the street putting in that job application. I tell you that much, because all of our students are screened. We know if they have a criminal history background. We know what their barriers are. You know, we're trying to alleviate some of those barriers. So, you know, if you want to get started, if you want to get the ball rolling, you know, I can give you my business card and we can set up a meeting for you to come down and meet with myself and also our job placement team. Because, you know, most importantly, we want to get these folks to work. And that's what we're out here for. I want to put people to work and you want people to work for you.
How do you find these people?
We find these people from recruitment events. You can think of Focus Hope on our educational side just like any other technical college, much like a Baker College. You know, they have to come in, they have to fill out an application, they have to go through the testing process. We give them the TABE test, which is the adult basic education test, and they have to score that 9th grade reading, that 10th grade math. And then once they go through that, they meet with a recruiter, and they figure out what program is best for them, whether it's machining or information technology. And then they go into their program. First off, like I said, we send them down to the clinic so they can go through your analysis, and also a physical, because we want to make sure that that person is in good health. And then they enroll into the program. They show up every day. They're getting their A's and B's. And then at the end of the program, we're sending them for a drug screen again. And then they're going to job placement. And then you're calling me saying, send me 10 more people.
I'm sorry, I'm talking kind of out of the line here. Just if my company needs like a lot of...
Hold on, we need to get you a mic.
Sorry, I'm sorry, yeah. If my company a lot of times will need to hire temporary work,
Okay.
because sometimes if a quality issue arises and you need to do containment, so we need to maybe contain the issue for 3-month period and so forth. Will either Community Ventures or Focus Hope be able to help with something like that?
Well, I don't-
This is more general labor
Okay.
than more specialized
Right.
like you have.
Well, one of the things that I always tell the students, my background when I first started with Focus Hope, I did job placement. So one of the things that I always tell them, did tell them and still tell them now, some work is better than no work, okay? So, you know, you go on that temporary job, you may be there for 3 months, but you know, you bust your butt, you're showing up every day on time, you're taking up new projects, and you're getting some experience, and you're still seeing what's going on in a manufacturing environment. And you can put that information on your resume, and that's another reference that you're going to have besides your instructors and the individuals that you've been around for the past 12 weeks. So we do have individuals that are looking for work that will take on that temporary work, and you know that 3 months may turn into 6 months, or once they get that experience, they're able to go out and maybe take what they learned from you and go on to somewhere else.
From our perspective, we're looking for full-time permanent employment. So if there is a period at which you hire individuals and they have to be tested out, for instance, but the intent is after that 90-day period, they will be full-time permanent employees, then we could consider those community venture eligible jobs. If it is strictly a temporary job, then we couldn't under this program.
Julie Oldham, SBTDC. You answered part of my question from Focus Hope as far as the student. I have a client that has a couple of nephews, 20-somethings, I guess, that are seeking employment and training as well. So could you describe the application process, or how do they get the application to?
Okay. On the information sheet that you have in front of you, you can call and we can fax over an application for you. I'm not really sure if the application is online, but you do have to come in, and once you come in and fill out the application, the testing process, they test every Monday and Wednesday, and the testing process is about 3 hours long. So you can get it all knocked out in one morning. So you can come down to Oakland Boulevard, fill out the application. You know, there's no application fee, you know. It says in University of Michigan where you got to drop $125, you know, but there's no fee. And our program is entirely free. So you're not taking out any loans or anything like that. This is an entirely free program under the grant that we're working under right now. The program used to be $4,500, but the student is getting 12 weeks worth of training. We give all of our students, they get a voucher for steel-toe boots if they fit the criteria. We give them tools, we give them a micrometer and a caliber, something that they can take with them so that, you know, once they're going on these interviews, if they're given a part to measure, they can take out their tools and measure it right in front of the individual. And it's a dial caliper, so it's no electronic caliper, so they know how to read those measuring tools. And the most important thing about it that, you know, I can't stress enough that, you know, this is free training. This is a skill that 20-something can take with them and hold on to them for a lifetime and build upon it. You know, that's something that once that 20-something, you know, they may want to go on to college. It's a part-time job that they can have in the evening that they can get some pretty good money for. You know, that $11.50 is a great living wage for, you know, someone who, you know, maybe a single person or someone who's just looking to get some money in their pocket. So, and that $11.50 can turn into $14.50, $18.50, $22.50.
I know there's got to be more questions.
Well, I just want to stress that companies that work with us under Community Ventures, I want you to know that it's not a burdensome process. It's just a circumstance where you have job openings and you need some assistance with filling those positions. And understanding that there's a lack of training resources available post-employment, this can be that resource. In addition, this is another resource to help you, based on what your needs, with relative flexibility, address any job retention issues that you have. And so I want to emphasize that even though we are focusing on a structurally unemployed population in urban communities, we are also working with organizations that also ensure that those individuals are job ready so that you get the talent that you need at the level that you need them.
Joe Kepler with HTI Cybernetics. My question's for Michael. As far as your Focus Hope employees, have you been able to retain them? And I guess maybe what's their tenure been at your company?
We lost one of them,
Okay.
and he actually was hired for more money. We coached him up,
Yep.
and he actually moved to another position for more money, which, more power to him. That's his prerogative. But the other two people are still with us, and they're doing great.
How long have you been working with Focus Hope?
I think it's about 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Could you join us in thanking the panelists for taking time out of their day? And KASEY also. That's right. And as KASEY mentioned, though, we have several upcoming hot topics sessions in the planning, and the next one we're looking at is employee retention, the very things that a number of companies have addressed, and then also one on exporting. So make sure that you've provided us with your information so that you can check your emails, because we will be sending that information out and sending you some save-the-date information. And just a couple other announcements. Mark Hackle, Macomb County's county executive, will be hosting the first annual Macomb County Business Awards. And those are going to be held on February 12th, and you will be seeing some information on the awards program also. So we would encourage everyone who has the opportunity to please attend. We also have the Macomb Manufacturers Group has developed a LinkedIn group, and we would encourage you to be part of that, to join that LinkedIn group. Now, if you're a manufacturer, Macomb County manufacturer, you're more than welcome to join that group. If you're not a Macomb County manufacturer, don't be offended, but you're not allowed to join that group. This was designed at the recommendation of the manufacturing community, that they just wanted to have manufacturing firms talking to manufacturing firms. So we're not trying to exclude people. We'll also have some other networking events. And last but not least, because I'm told I don't get anything to eat unless everyone fills out the survey. So if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes and filling out the survey, we'd appreciate that. So, any final questions? Thank you for attending.